Yes, I was born in New Jersey in the United States, and so I'm Jewish, but my parents didn't raise me in the traditions. So it wasn't until I became an adult that I really became interested in understanding my Jewish roots. And it took a few years, but back in 2005, I felt a strong conviction it was time to come. And so in 2007, I made the leap of faith and moved to Israel and made Aliyah. Well, back in 2010, I first moved to Jerusalem. Some friends and I began to host weekly Sabbath experiences just for fun with our friends. It kind of became known that I do this weekly Sabbath experience, and a certain Danish pastor who lived in Jerusalem for 5 years, he thought it would be a good idea to have some of the groups that come over through his ministry to experience a traditional Sabbath. So through his groups and then through other groups who just started coming, families, individuals, and by word of mouth, it just continued to grow to what it is today, where I host groups generally weekly for a Sabbath experience. Yeah, so the majority of the people who come to my Sabbath experience are basically from all over the world. It started out in Denmark. I have groups from Germany, America, Australia, China, India, South Africa, Egypt. They're literally from all over the world. So the Sabbath experience, I generally host it on Friday evenings. I like to have my guests arrive before the sun sets, and we begin with an introduction of the Sabbath. So for the majority of the people, it's a brand new thing. So I start from Genesis 1:1. And we talk about the first Sabbath when God created in 6 days and then He rested on the seventh day. And then from there we continue with the traditional Psalms that are read on the Sabbath day. We have the traditional Kiddush, the blessing over the wine, followed by the blessing on the bread. And in the middle of the Sabbath experience, we always have a focused time on the Devar Torah, the weekly Torah portion, a small Bible study, a short Bible study. And then we continue on the evening, and we always end the evening with the Birkat HaMazon, the blessing on the food, which is based out of Deuteronomy 8:10. And so I take the groups through the different stages, the various songs and blessings and experiences of the traditional Sabbath. It's quite interactive. It's something that people are engaged in, participating in, asking questions. One of the biggest takeaways that I hope my guests will take with them as they leave is number one, that as they're here in Jerusalem, that they will experience and have a real taste of the Sabbath. And so I really try to emphasize the value of taking a weekly day of rest, the value of stopping and focusing on one another. So I really hope that both those who are visiting me here from the nations, as well as the Jewish believers in the land, can continue to develop this practice of the Sabbath in the way that God originally intended it, filled with rest and joy and celebration.